All right. We should probably not dance to the music because that's what we're doing before the start of Is This Love, the podcast where we enter into the wild and wonderful world of relationships and trying to answer your questions and get you some answers, some new ideas, and open your mind to the possibilities of what is out there in the world of love. I am Francis, a.k.a. The Other Guy, and with me is the ever melodic Sara Nade. Hello, Sara.
Hi.
It's in your name, Sara. You have to be melodic.
I'm a little bit, in the car, shower.
In the shower, yeah. Yeah, I do all of my major singing in the car. That is my studio where I like to belt
Absolutely.
it out. Yeah. Well, that's because okay, so just because what I love about driving and looking at other cars is that so many people look so dead serious when they're driving in their car. But then you see that random person just go in and dancing and singing in their car. And you're like, that's the life I want to be leading. Is that guy or that girl right over there who's just having the time of their life singing whatever their favorite song is in the car. And so I do it as much as possible too, where I'm just singing and I don't dance necessarily, but I'm singing, I'm belting it, and people know I'm singing because it's out there, So
that means someone's looking at you and you're making them happier. You're making them have a better day with your happiness.
I hope so. I just want to encourage more people to sing because it to me that's like one of the best things to see when people are driving around. But anyway, we're not talking about singing unless you want to talk about singing. I mean, Sara Nade is your name, but I figured we should actually do the show proper. There's a second episode of Is This Love? And we're going to go into the actual format of what we would normally do in a show like this. So, Sara, why don't you hit the question number 1 for this segment?
All right, sounds good. So this is from the perspective of a man who's in his early 20s. And he said, I love my girlfriend so much and I'm happy when we are together. But when we're apart, I feel a lot of anxiety and depression. I get depressed when I don't hear back from her quickly, and I fear being left or cheated on. This is the first time I've been in a healthy relationship, and I'm just so afraid to lose it. How can I work on my trust issues?
Okay. Trust issues. My goodness.
Yeah.
In the world of the internet, I get that, right? Like, the one thing I learned, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, is cheating is not about intent, it's about opportunity. In other words, people cheat because they put themselves in situations that allow them that opportunity to cheat. In other words, if they allow themselves time alone with an attractive coworker, maybe when they go out, they step away from their friends and spend a little extra time with a cute guy or girl on the side over there. What are your thoughts on that as it being more of they didn't really want them to put themselves in that situation, but there was an opportunity and they kind of just fell into it?
Well, I know we've both looked at things like Ashley Madison before, and there are places where it's not about being in the opportunity. It's about going out and
That's true. That's true. You can seek it out yourself. That's very true. Yeah.
But that's a weird situation. I mean, that is just so bizarre to me. But I think most of the time it's probably because you are spending time around some sort of temptation. Mm-hmm. I think that what this person is saying is what a lot of people experience in that they're just imagining all these scenarios where the person is with someone else, even if it's not true.
Right.
And sometimes it is. Sometimes you should trust your intuition. But I think some people it sounds a bit like this young man is coming up with these scenarios in his head.
Sorry, when you say young man, it makes you sound like you're so old. I'm like, you're not that much older than this guy.
I shouldn't have said that. I'm not saying that he's not a young person, but it does sound a little weird to say young man.
I just find it funny. But yeah, you're right. So I only brought that up because that's the kind of headspace I've been in as a guy his age at one point in my life. I wasn't originally, I trust, I have a tendency to trust my significant other. It's Because otherwise you're just worrying all the time. So you kind of have that choice. And it's a very difficult choice to kind of just live with. But sometimes you have to have a conversation with yourself and say, well, I have to trust until they break that trust, because I don't have any reason to believe otherwise. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Well, what I'm hearing in the question is he might not have the ability to talk himself out of worrying like that. Mm-hmm. It sounds like it might be some anxiety, on a more clinical level almost.
Yeah, because I'm almost... Because do you think he may have had an experienced something that makes him feel this way? Like he had a previous relationship where he was being cheated on and he was left because they were apart. Do you think he may have experienced that?
That's certainly possible. It could be like trauma based. Mm-hmm. He could have something in his past that's telling him trust people when you can't see them, when they're not in front of you, when you're not talking to them. They could be doing anything. Like maybe before I trusted, and look how shocked I was. Look how wrong I was. I can understand that, but sometimes you get into a place where you might need some extra help to get over those kinds of issues. It might be hard to just look at it logically and say, well, I can't just worry about it all the time. And there's she's probably not cheating on me. You might need to talk to somebody. I mean, I hate to just say everyone needs help all the time. I think help is great and I totally support it. And if you can get it, get it. But not everyone needs it all the time.
No.
However, if you're having a really hard time getting out of your thoughts and you're like ruminating whenever your girlfriend isn't around you, that's probably time to start, getting some outside perspectives and professional help maybe.
Yeah. I mean, getting professional help would help.
I mean, it's not super severe. It's not like I think he needs to be necessarily on medication or anything. I just think that.
Well, so I would also recommend, like, I'm curious if this person has talked to his girlfriend about his anxiety about this and his depression about this. Like, is this something he's keeping to himself, or is this something that he's communicating to his girlfriend? Because if he is communicating to his girlfriend, I think that they can build a foundation of which there's reassurance. Because maybe he just needs that reassurance when she's out. Hey, I'm here with my friend, Alyssa. Here she is, or what? I mean, I know it's a little babysitting, but maybe that's something where he can be weaned off of and be just like, hey, look, I'm doing this thing. I'm with a friend. I'm with my family or whatever, and just needs a little bit of that reassurance. Not overboard reassurance where like you're videotaping your entire experience while you're there, but maybe like a text or something or whatever, a picture or something. Because that's actually something I felt recently, and because I had a previous relationship that involved, it ended because of cheating. So I have the same issues this guy has a little bit on trust.
Well, it has a huge impact, being betrayed or blindsided or anything like that. Mm-hmm. And cheating is such a big thing in relationships. It's terribly painful. I think that a lot of really good understanding partners would hear those concerns and would be able to do some reassuring, some kind.
Yeah.
I think it would be helpful also if you can say, this would really help me, but I'm also working on myself and I'm also working on these trust issues, whether that's talking to somebody or maybe I'm going through some self-help books or anything, just so that it's not, the other person doesn't feel like it's going to be totally up to them to always reassure them forever, or that it's going to maybe get
forever.
Worse.
Oh my God. Yeah, no, hopefully not forever.
Right. And it's just nice to know that it's nice to be able to support your partner if they're having any sort of emotional or mental issues, especially if it's related to trauma. We can all understand that, I would hope.
Yeah.
But it's good to also, help yourself too, and not just put it all on the other person.
Yeah, and I think if if they're not atypical, in other words, they don't necessarily need that additional therapy or that additional help, hopefully with that reassurance and hopefully with that communication and talking it out, that they'll build that trust over time as they do whatever is necessary to kind of keep that relationship going and build that trust, that over time, not going to need it anymore because he knows, like, oh, I know so-and-so is doing this. I don't have to think about it. In this case, Schrodinger's girlfriend, they disappear. They don't exist anymore, right? Or whatever.
Right.
Like I know if they're out of my sight, they're doing a thing and nothing's happening and they're not putting themselves in situations in which I have to worry. And it's not normal to cheat, usually. Most people don't actively cheat. Most people want a relationship to work. Most people want to have, especially if they put that much effort into being in a relationship with you, they want it to work. So hopefully that type of reassurance will help you in the long run build the confidence. Because it's a confidence thing, right? I think.
Well, I think if you have a lot of confidence, maybe that would help you in the way that you could say, I'm willing to trust people. And if they betray my trust, I'm okay walking away.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe that would be a way to look at it where you wouldn't want it to happen to you, but you wouldn't maybe be quite so, I don't know, maybe you wouldn't be quite so afraid if you looked at it sort of like it could happen, but I just kind of know what to do if it will. I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know anyone who's honestly that secure, but I think that you're right that communication is so, so important. And it might not even be like extra reassurance. Some couples really do just kind of let each other know where they are. And when they're done with things and where they're headed next, it's not a super uncommon thing. I mean, I think once you're together for a really long time, it doesn't happen. And maybe that's the same process of being reassuring in the beginning and then eventually it peters out. But I don't even think it's that much of an effort for some couples to just let each other know where they are.
Yeah, and I think that's also a reasonable request, right? To be able to be like, I mean, you're not turning on the Find My Phone feature on her phone or something and tracking them through GPS or anything. Like, you're not doing that. But, like, yeah, check in every once in a while. I'm like, hey, just wanted to let you know I'm here at this thing. And like, okay, great. How are you? And then you can even have a little conversation. How's your friend that you're hanging out with, your family or whatever? And then there's that, again, you're building, not only talking to each other, but you're building that reassurance and that, and hopefully lowering that anxiety, knowing that she's taking the effort to talk to you and she's taking the effort to make sure you feel comfortable. And it's hard to remember that sometimes. Like, oh, they don't have to do that. Like, they don't have to make me feel comfortable if they didn't want to. And here they are, they're doing it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a really great thing in a relationship. If you are happy to even just send a little text to each other when you're in the middle of something, just to say, oh yeah, I'm talking to him now. I'll text you later. Or, I got here fine. I'll let you know when I'm done.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be every minute of every day that you're letting them know what's going on. But I also think that if you're struggling with always having these thoughts when you're not talking to the person, there's a lot of things you can learn for yourself, like grounding exercises and mindfulness. And you can learn to
Can you explain what grounding exercises are and what mindfulness is?
Yeah, grounding exercises are generally things to like the reality of where you're at now, like instead of being in these stories and your thoughts. A good one would be to look around you and notice the colors of different things. Like there's a green pot holder, there's a white tissue, there's a blue external hard drive, or looking at things and saying, I think that cardboard feels smooth. And I think that container feels a little bit like it's got ridges on it, like imagining what things feel like or what they might sound like or smell like. Just things bring you back into the physical moment. There's a lot of different grounding exercises. Mindfulness is Well, a lot of people practice it through mindful meditation,
Hmm.
where you're kind of just focusing on the breath. And as thoughts come, you don't judge them, but you allow them to pass.
Mm.
And when you do a lot of that meditation, over time, you sort of build up this ability to recognize thoughts for what they are
Mm.
and allow them to go and come back into the moment, a little bit like grounding.
Hmm.
You can do things like focus on what you're feeling and what you're doing and what you're hearing and being more in the moment, more mindful of what's happening and allowing your thoughts to pass without judgment.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. See, you learned something today, folks.
And I don't know that those are the official definitions, but that's my understanding.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a good, at least, foundation for those types of ideas, and I'm sure that that'll help them out, especially since the brain can be so chaotic, right? Like it's very difficult sometimes to wrangle all those thoughts, especially when you are feeling anxiety. It's like it's chaos in your brain, and so it's so hard to kind of focus and get yourself back into reality and realize that oftentimes what we worry about and the things that we fear are manifestations of our own just insecurities, right? It's just something that we don't feel comfortable with sometimes, or just a certain scenario or situation we're in we don't feel necessarily we have control over. And so our brain can sometimes just spit all these weird things into your head, and you're going to have to find techniques and methods, like Sara pointed out, to quieting those words, quieting that chaos, because it's easy to get lost in it. I got lost in it earlier today. I was in the middle of work. I had so many thoughts in my head. I was freaking out, right? And
Oh, no.
I was just freaking out. I was like having an anxiety attack because I just...
Oh, no.
Well, there's a lot on my mind right now, and I was doing my best to kind of... I didn't have those techniques available to me because I hadn't learned them as Sara has, but they would have been great at that moment because I was literally just in the middle of work, and luckily, again, I don't work with anybody, so it's easy to kind of freak out at work because no one's going to see it and no one's going to notice. So that's nice. But I had a really difficult time today, and having those techniques probably would have really helped. So keep that in mind as you move forward, and hopefully, man in your early 20s. I hope you're out there listening, and if you are, I hope this helps a little bit to some degree. All right, we have a second question as well. Why don't you go ahead and let us know what it is?
All right. So this time it's from a woman also in her early 20s.
Ooh.
Yeah. Lots of, I'm not going to say young people, but lots of people in their early 20s.
All those youngins.
It's all relative. They're neither
Yes.
young nor old.
Yeah. Well, hey, look, I'm older than the guy, and I had my anxiety attack. So
You know what?
That stuff
Everyone
happens.
can have anxiety any age. It's nothing to ever be ashamed about.
Exactly.
All right. So when I'm out drinking, I'm very social, and lots of people, especially men, tend to approach me to talk. If they're obviously hitting on me, I shut it down, but I'm usually very friendly because it's not obvious to me with most people. But my boyfriend has told me a few times that it makes him really uncomfortable that I'm talking to other guys when I'm out. He says he trusts that I wouldn't cheat on him and that I'm not trying to hurt him, but it still makes him feel awkward. He doesn't act really jealous or controlling compared to other guys. I just want to be sensitive to his feelings. What should I do so that I can still go out and have fun and be social, but not make him feel bad?
Well, woman in her early 20s.
That's me. I'm the woman in her early 20s.
I like how you snuck a question about you in here. No, I'm just kidding. Wow. Okay. Well, look, I would love to hear your perspective first on this one. What do you think? What do you think she can do?
Oh, goodness. This one's actually harder for me than talking about anxiety.
Oh, well, okay. So, So I had my ex-wife was a woman who would go out. She'd go with her friends. She'd go to the clubs. She was a partier. I wasn't. We were very opposite. Like, she was a clubber. She She wore like provocative clothing, things like that. I mean, you wouldn't. I'm fairly certain if people saw us together, they wouldn't understand why we were a couple, because we were very. I'm the nerd. She was more of the wild child. She was out there. She was having fun. She liked to do a bunch of stuff. She liked to go get drunk and do all these different things. Right. I don't know how we got along for 8 years, but we did. So she would go out with her friends, and be in situations like this. Now, at the beginning, I wasn't quite as anxious, and as time continued, you see, she is noticeably a flirty person. She flirts. She to the point where she would get free meals at places sometimes, and she'd get
wow.
I mean, she was that type of flirt, and she was attractive, so it made sense, So all of this stuff combined, she used it to her advantage. She knew what she had. She knew what wiles she had, and she used it to her advantage. And I'm here's this frumpy looking dude who's with her. It's like, oh, okay, well, this is awkward and weird. She didn't necessarily slow down per se, and I think what would have helped me in that scenario really. This is pre-unlimited text, pre-unlimited minutes on a phone. So it's not like she could just text me. It's not like she could just do that stuff easily on her Nokia brick phone, right?
Right.
That would last 3 weeks between charges. So that wasn't necessarily an option. I felt like as long as she had her girlfriends around, gave me better peace of mind, knowing, okay, well, she's got her friends. And I know that she's flirty by nature and will get free drinks, and I get that. I get that that's something she has to do. It seems like this woman really wants to still be able to go out there and socialize and have fun. Mm-hmm. I want to know why, I guess, is the question. Why is that necessary? Especially if she's making friends. Okay, if she's with her friends, fine. That's awesome. But it sounds like she's not just with her friends. She flirts with others. She talks. I'm not going to say flirts. She talks to other guys. But why is my question, right? What would be the need? I mean, I guess if you want to make a new male friend, okay. But that's such a delicate... And please correct me if I'm going too overboard on this, Sarah, because I feel like I might be, but I don't know why she would need to do that. Mm-hmm. I don't understand the purpose of it. If she needs to make another male friend, okay, invite me along, because then I'm there and whatever. But I don't think she'd feel comfortable with that. It sounds like she wants to be on her own to be able to do this type of thing.
Right. Well, I totally understand feeling weird when you have a very extroverted partner, because I am more introverted, and when I have extroverted partners, I feel insecure in certain ways. Mm-hmm. I generally trust them. I honestly don't know if I've ever been cheated on. I feel like I've probably been in relationships where I have been, but I couldn't tell you for sure.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay.
It doesn't even bother me now. I honestly, even when I thought maybe they were cheating, it didn't even really bother me by that point.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, wow. I know that sounds a little strange, but things were already bad. So I was like, I feel like they might be cheating on me, and I don't really care because it's just about over. Mm-hmm. But I think that the tough thing for women who are extroverted is you think about people who just love to hang out with people and love to talk and meet new people.
Right.
And if it's a guy, he goes out and he just talks to all sorts of people and it's no big deal. Mm-hmm. But if it's a girl and she goes out and do it, people know that most of the guys who are talking to her, if she's attractive, are probably not wanting just friendship. And women don't really like that. We don't really like that we can't just be friends with guys.
Right.
A lot of the time. So it's unfortunate that, and I'm not super extroverted like her, but that she goes out and she wants to meet new friends and talk to new people and just gets a lot of energy from social activity. But she doesn't want these other things that most of these people secretly want from her, but are maybe pretending to be just friendly to get an in.
Yeah.
But if they're being overtly flirtatious, that's almost good, because she said, if I can tell they're being flirtatious, then I just shut it down. Kind of pretending to be just like a friend or just a friendly chat, then how can she know? And that just that's part of the deal with, I guess, the society and the way men and women work. And it's just unfair. It's not cool that she can't go out and do that the same way a guy could. Now, a guy can go out and a ton of girls can hit on him. That can happen too.
Yeah. But
I don't know. It just feels like it's looked at differently. Like, it feels like
no. It's not like, imagine your boyfriend going out and being social with all sorts of folk in a way that was, and they were flirting with him. Like, how would you feel about that? And he's shutting it down, of course. But still, like, that there's these people actively trying to flirt with this person. Like, how would you feel about that?
Well, I think that he probably does get hit on by people when he's out. He is much more extroverted than me, and he goes out and hangs out with friends or ends up at even just work parties. And what he does is he actually tells me about the people he meets and the things they talked about. And I think he knows that I'm more introverted and a little bit more, maybe anxious about things. So sure. He's more than happy to just tell me about how his night went and what went on and who he talked to. And I don't ask him to tell me that stuff, but he does. And I really do appreciate it, because it kind of makes me feel like, okay, there's not like a bunch of blanks, or, how would I know that someone wasn't just totally trying to steal my boyfriend all night? Not that.
Well, but what it does is, most importantly, is it includes you in part of his life that you weren't involved in directly, which I think is a great kind of thing that couples, I think, should do. Is they experience the thing, share that experience again with your significant other, and it's almost like they were there. Almost.
Yeah, it is kind of like that. Yeah. And honestly, if he did tell me someone was flirting with him a bunch, I mean, I know that that's just them, and that doesn't mean that they were going to be successful, because...
Well, again, there's just much like, the person who was asking the question, her boyfriend was like, I trust there's nothing going on, and you have that same experience or that same scenario, which you trust that nothing is going on.
Right.
And which makes me now think, okay, in this particular scenario, in this situation, why not, maybe to kind of appease his fears, have him every once in a while come along? Like, I don't know why he doesn't go. Just as kind of like a thing, hey, it's a thing we can both do. She can still socialize, but then after some socializing, go back to him, and, maybe whatever heavy flirting and stuff that she experienced out amongst the others, she can just focus that energy towards him, and there's maybe even more intimacy in that relationship, because now there's that, even though she's not wanting to flirt with others, maybe she can just refocus that energy towards him. I don't know. Is that a weird thing? I don't know if that makes any sense.
I would think that if he likes going out too, they probably go out sometimes together.
Well, no, I mean, as in, not that he doesn't, that he wants to do it, but it's kind of a way, just he's invited out. She asks him, hey, you know what? I want to socialize. I want to go out. I know you have this, you feel awkward about me going out and why don't you come with me for this one time? Check it out. Be with me, it'll be fun, right? Type of deal. And he doesn't have to say yes, but maybe the offer, or maybe even, like, if he does say yes, he can experience it himself, because maybe he doesn't know what goes on, or maybe he doesn't see it firsthand. Maybe he just always hears about it because he doesn't go out with that. Maybe that's an idea to, I don't know, or is that just, do you think that may be too out of his comfort zone, maybe, potentially?
Well, it's hard to say. Yeah. I think that there's a good chance that he's the more introverted one and she's more extroverted. And it's just that he doesn't like to do the same things she does. And hopefully, if he doesn't hate it, that she does invite him sometimes. It could be like she has a lot of girls' nights. And with my boyfriend, there's a lot of things he does that are, it's just like more his life, like his work stuff, or he has friends from like years ago, some, maybe some guys he was at another company with, and they go out and do something. And sometimes, like, they'll all like bring significant others to dinner or something maybe, but it doesn't mean that everyone's significant other is all doing together all the time.
No, yeah.
So
no.
Yeah, sometimes like it's nice to be like inviting your significant other to certain things, but sometimes you do things just with friends or work functions.
Right. But I'm hoping maybe if she does take him out to one or two, that's okay, obviously not all of them, but just on occasion take him out to one or two, and he sees it and witnesses it maybe firsthand. Again, I don't know if he's witnessed it firsthand or not, and he sees it, and he actually, okay, I see how it works. I see that it's just kind of a thing, and maybe that might give him some peace of mind that when she does go out and socialize, he won't feel as awkward because he's seen it firsthand. He understands what happens. He kind of can put, I don't know, put something to it, as opposed to kind of just letting his mind go wild. Because that's what happens, right? If you don't see it, if you're not experiencing it yourself, your imagination can get away from you, and you start thinking, well, I know she's not doing this. I know she's not doing that. But it freaks me out that, like, what if they're, putting their hand up her leg or something, or
oh my gosh,
or whatever. Again, flirtation in a drunken scenario gets very touchy.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's like, what if they're doing that, or what if they're grabbing her ass or something? Like, who knows? I mean, I don't know. I've never been in that scenario in the sense where I was invited to those things. I had to hear it after the fact. Because I didn't want to, much like maybe like this guy, I don't want to go. That's not my, I feel too many people, it's too loud.
Mm-hmm.
It's too much.
No, I feel the same. Like, my boyfriend likes being around much larger groups of people than I do.
Yeah.
But that's the nature of being with someone extroverted. When you're introverted, is they're going to want to do a lot more things than you do.
That's true. I
do go with stuff that he invites me to, and maybe it's probably easier for me because I'm not really in her boyfriend situation where it's not like my boyfriend goes out dancing with his friends and like in a place where a bunch of drunk ladies are going to be hitting on him all the time. I like this is kind of what it sounds like that she's doing, is going out to clubs and bars and things where people are just, they have the social lubrication and they're, interested. But I think that something she could do, and this is not something that's going to be really, he'll just kind of have to trust that she does this, or she can kind of do like what I was saying, where she comes home afterwards and tells him what happened in the conversations. She can bring him up. Like when people say something, she'd be like, oh, my boyfriend likes that too. My boyfriend's like that too. Like just very quickly bring up that you have a boyfriend.
Right.
And she can, I think just saying that to him, saying, oh yeah, I was talking to this guy and he liked this. And I was like, oh, my boyfriend likes that too. I even think just hearing that might make him feel better a little bit, so
Yeah. I know I would. I mean, if I were in that scenario and I was with an extrovert, I feel knowing that they put in that little bit of extra effort. I'm like, okay. I mean, I probably still feel, I think that the awkwardness may still be there, but I also think that's something that maybe just the nature of their relationship. Like the other option is that's the nature of their relationship, is she's social, he's not. He trusts her, she's trustworthy. Maybe there's sometimes you have to live with the awkwardness a little bit, because it's not like it's not debilitating, the awkwardness, right? He feels awkward. Like that's the worst of it. It's like he I don't know if she says make him not feel bad. I don't know if he necessarily feels bad more than he just, maybe he wishes you stayed. Maybe, don't go out as often either. Maybe, I don't know if that's passing boundaries. So they're like, well, I don't know. But maybe having that compromise might be a place to start as well. Having that compromise, like, okay, I won't go out as often if it makes you feel that uncomfortable. Be, spending more time with him. Maybe that's what he wants. But I feel, again, just like going out a lot, or maybe as often, I over time, I know. I think even myself, I'd be like, oh man, that's a lot. It was a lot. Like if it's every week, like every once a week, just, let's watch some Netflix and chill. Come on.
Yeah. I guess I don't know it's a thing too with young women getting hit on a lot by guys. So I can't say I know what it's like to date a very attractive young woman who's hit on a lot.
I had that experience. She was a woman in her early 20s who was very attractive, who flirted with a lot of people. So, I mean, I kind of relate to the scenario in which I didn't go out and she would, and et cetera,
but I mean, she
cetera.
needs to be able to go out. She needs to be able to have fun and do what she likes, because she's not hitting on them. She's not trying to start a relationship. She's not being unfaithful. But it's tricky because I'm sure it does. If he's feeling a little insecure, you know, there's probably something she could do, like letting him know that she brought him up when the guys talk to her. She said right away, I have a boyfriend.
Right. And again, the compromise even being maybe not preventing her from going, obviously, but just, you know, maybe one out of those 4 times she goes out, she hangs out with you or something, like changing it up every once in a while. I don't know. I mean, like I said, it's a compromise that will have to be something that they can set for themselves. But I feel that it's important, especially if the relationship is that important, to be able to give that peace of mind for someone who doesn't understand that world and doesn't understand that need to be out there socializing all the time.
Yeah. Then that's hard too, is if you don't understand what they're getting from it and you're thinking they're getting something that's making you uncomfortable. Maybe he thinks that she's doing it strictly to get male attention in that way.
Possible.
And that could not be it at all. She just likes talking to people. She's maybe likes dancing.
Some people like dancing. Yeah. I am a horrible dancer. So I'm glad that my ex went out dancing, because I can't dance for nothing. I can't. These legs, they flail and hurt people. They have no coordination. So,
no, I've got a bad knee. I don't move a whole lot of pivoting sort of motions at all, but my boyfriend's a great dancer, and I feel terrible that I can't do much more than like a very slow shuffle with him.
And the occasional dip. I'm just saying.
Just one, every once in a while.
All right. Well, if those questions tantalized your brains, you too can ask a question. Just let us know at isthislovepodcast@gmail.com. You can let us know if you have any of these scenarios, these questions, these quandaries that you may have, in which we can provide our infinite font of knowledge. And no book knowledge on this one, though, on either question, really.
You mean no, like articles or
no book knowledge from anything you've read, or it's mostly experience. Yeah,
I guess not that I can think of.
Yeah, no grounding and no
not for this last one. I mean, well, he's got some anxiety issues, so he could certainly work on that for himself, but I think this is one that they should communicate, and some sort of form of her talking to him about it, and maybe telling him, like we said, what's going on when she's out could certainly help.
Yeah, definitely. All right. We're going to wrap this up then with just a fun little thing. We had they weren't heavy, but they were pretty serious questions. So let's just talk about some silly stuff for a second here. All right.
Okay.
I wrote down, I wasn't even looking for this. I don't remember what I was searching for. And I found on the Apple App Store the following dating apps that actually exist. So apparently you can date in all sorts of fun and weird ways.
Ooh, now, wonderful.
Have you ever had a one-night stand?
Goodness. How is that defined? You only had sex once. One night and then...
Never see them again.
Never see them again?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, maybe not, because I did in college, I would sometimes just sleep with someone once, but I definitely saw them again because it was college.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, I guess that counts too. Yeah, no, I guess that counts too. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I guess there was people I just slept with once, and again... Back in college, not really after much at all, because I kind of was over it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I find that unless you're a celebrity, as you age, the one night stand becomes less and less appealing, because who has time for that or the energy?
If you're going to have a lot of them.
But if there is an app called Ayala that allows you to find your one-night stand, it's a one-night stand dating app. So if you're looking for just someone to sleep with once ever, I guess they got an app for you. Have you ever had more than one other partner with you in bed? Have you ever tried the wobbly H or gotten airtight?
Oh my God. Wobbly H. No, I have never done the wobbly H.
Or been airtight? Okay.
But, okay, one time... in college again.
Okay.
It wasn't.
Go on.
It wasn't officially an orgy or anything like that, but there was me and the person I was with in that moment, and another sort of couple, and we were just sharing a bed.
Were you all naked?
There was covers, so. Maybe it felt like they were in their own, like they were on their own section of the bed. Like
did you use like pillows as a divider between the two of you?
Somehow we didn't need to. I don't know how it worked. It must have been like the biggest bed in the world, or like we just were able to block the other people out. But like,
so feet never touched, or knees, or arms.
Nothing touched.
Wow.
It was so weird.
Wow.
We just there was one big bed, and we were all drinking. And we were with our guys, and. It was me and my friend, and we each had our guy with us. And yeah, I don't know how it happened. We were totally separate. It must have been a really big bed.
It must have been. Wow. Well, look, if you want a similar situation, but just in the wobbly H and or airtight version of it. All right, London. What do you? Okay, finger cuff version of it. Whatever. You can go and find that there's an app called 3Fun on the App Store, which helps you find threesome couples to date. So if you're looking for two other people to fulfill the devil's threesome, 2 men and 1 girl, go at it. Or the appropriate threesome, 2 girls and 1 guy.
What?
You can I just had to say that for the reaction.
They're both appropriate in equal amounts and both devilish in equal amounts, I have to say. Just equality here. Okay. And also, 3 of a kind is also just the same in devilishness and appropriateness.
Of course. So have fun making the sexy triangle, all right? The sexy triangle. But, we were talking about age in the last episode, and maybe sugar daddies are everywhere. You can find that everywhere. Mm-hmm. That's like a thing, If you have the right amount of money. As a matter of fact, I was listening to another podcast where some dude was like, that's how he primarily dates. He dates specifically for sugar babies, which are the ladies of whom he pampers. And apparently that's how he dates nowadays, because he's at an age where he feels he couldn't find someone who he could have a real relationship with. So he just goes and does these things. But if you're a young man looking for an older, more mature woman, then there are apparently cougar dating apps for you.
Oh, so nice.
You can find that wonderful, oh my God, Courtney Cox. If you're looking for Courtney Cox, she was in a show called Cougar Town.
Cougar Town, yeah. Yes, for cougars and cubs to unite.
For cougars and cubs. Yeah. Oh, see, look at that. Oh, Sara knows the lingo. She has. I think she secretly works for this cougar dating app.
Oh my goodness, yes. I want to make sure that all the cougars find suitable young pool boys.
Oh man. Oh God, that just brings me back to my youth.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Did you work for her?
No. So
mowing the lawn or bringing in groceries?
No, it was weird. So I don't know. The internet was the Wild West in the late 90s, early 2000s. And so you met people. You just met people online in various different ways. And I, for some reason, kept meeting older women. Mm. And there was a 40-year-old woman who was just looking for someone to flirt around with and play around with. And I was that guy, I guess. And she even mailed me her panties once.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh man. And she was in her 40s. I'm like, oh, I mean, whatever. I was, again, young. I didn't care. Whatever. Bring it. I think it was even younger than when I was with the woman who's 10 years older than me. I was thinking it was like 18 at least.
You were getting women like in their 40s or 18?
Yeah, 40. Yeah, I was 18. She was in.
Did they know you were 18?
Oh yeah.
Not younger than that, though, right?
No.
Okay. I mean, that's barely acceptable.
Barely acceptable.
You were legal.
Yeah, right. So yeah, but anyway, so that was a thing. It's an interesting experience, especially at that young an age. It's like, oh yeah, wow, who knew? Anyway, all I knew was what actually enlightened me was like, oh, women are horny at 40. Oh, that's cool.
Oh yeah,
like women are super horny at 40. Like it really amazed me. You know, and she was an attractive 40-year-old too. I was like, wow.
I just can't believe they're going after 18-year-olds. I mean,
I don't know.
You're in high school.
I actually graduated 17, so I wasn't in high school at the time. I was in college.
Oh, college man. Okay.
College man, yeah. But look, maybe some people think that's a little kinky. Maybe they like a little 50 Shades of Grey. If you're willing to say, what is your highest level of kink? If you were to, I guess if you were to equate it, what is your highest level of kink or fetish? Because if it's something you're willing to say.
Oh my gosh. First of all, I don't have much.
It's fine. I mean, I don't think most people do. Actually, I think with the advent of porn, I think more people have now because porn has pushed acceptable now because everything's weird and crazy.
It's probably all very like normal, acceptable. I don't even know if it'd be considered kink anymore. It's just like I don't even know if there's a name for it or a word.
You don't have to say it if you don't want to.
Yeah, let's strike that. I'm just gonna say
you're vanilla.
Yeah, I'm pretty vanilla.
Okay. That's fine.
I'm fairly vanilla, yes.
Yeah. I mean, look, not everyone is comfortable saying these types of things. That's why I gave the option. But yeah, I mean, I'm more or less open to anything. If whatever, I'm more happy. I'm more geared to wanting to make sure that the woman in my life was thoroughly happy in whatever sexual activity we were doing. And so poo, I think, is my limit.
Oh, God. Oh, no.
But I think that's it. Anyway, if you're looking for kink, if you're looking for fetishes, if you're looking to be tied up, Kinku is the dating app for you for that type of thing.
Nice.
All right. Well, look, we've given you some options. We talked about dating in the previous episode. We got into some dating apps today. I guess if you email us and ask us, maybe we'll reveal a bit of what those kinks and fetishes are. Maybe we'll see, but it is in the vein of wanting to, of course, answer your guys' questions. So that's where you guys come in. Please, please, please send us your questions to isthislovepod@gmail.com. You can go ahead and subscribe and leave a review on any of your podcatchers because that's what we need. We need your reviews. The more you review, the more people will know about the show and the more that Sara will have to tell us about her kinks, how much she loves to dress up as a horse or something. You never know. Oh
my God. No one can know.
No one can know that she likes to her kink is dressing up as a horse and throwing knives at a wall. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's the only thing that gets her going nowadays. Oh man.
Oh my goodness.
She is
what do you
crazy.
call that? Horse and knife play.
Horse and knife play. Anyway, yeah, so you can go ahead and find us at that email address and at isthislovepodcast.com where you can find previous episodes. You find episode number 1, which is our only previous episode, and then hit us up on social medias. And finally, at AKA the other guy on Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. If you want to send us questions that way, I'll be happy to get it through my Instagram and stuff. And we'll have one for the show soon. But Sara, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Gosh, I can't think of anything. I mean, now that we've talked about
your horse and
all
knife.
the kinks and the horses and the knives and the three-ways. I think that's about everything.
That's about everything. Yeah. Hey, look. And look, she has a talent of sharing a bed with another couple and never touching them. Like that's a skill. That's a talent.
Is skill.
Yeah.
I mean, California king size bed. I one or the other.
Yeah. That either that is just a gigantic bed. Who knows? But all right. Anyway, we'll come up with a catchphrase as we normally end the show. So until then, have a great one, everyone. Be all lovey-dovey, and we'll talk to you all next week. Bye, everyone.